Good morning. Heidi Foy here with Bullfrog Creatives and partnering with the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association and the official CNFR. You guys, if you are following or watching, we don't have anyone watching live yet, but I have faith you guys are coming. I know you're coming. If you are watching on the Bullfrog Creatives page or the NIRA page or the official CNFR page, I would encourage you to go out and follow all of the other ones. There's going to be a ton of behind the scenes content on Bullfrog Creatives, lots of interviews. Everything will be going out on all three platforms this year. So even though I want you to follow all of them, you probably could just stick around on one of them and get all the information. Before we launch into our regional chat today, which we have the Grand Canyon, excuse me, joining us today, I want to talk about a couple of things, not really deadlines, but just things that are coming up. The position draw has already been posted. So if you guys are interested, if you haven't seen, listen, I'm guessing everybody knows when they're up by now. But if you're friends or family or any of that, you can go and take a look at the position draw. They will draw the stock for the first and second rounds on Friday. Let's see, Saturday. Okay, we've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure that we're going to talk about it again once I get my Grand Canyon gal in here. The check-in on Saturday. This is a mandatory check-in. If you are someone that has made it to the CNFR, or you know someone that has made it to the CNFR, or you know somebody affiliated with it in any way, just know that this is a mandatory check-in, and you don't just come and go as you please. You come at 1 and you're here. It's going to be a thing. There's an event. Like, you don't have to dress up. We're not there yet, but do wear Western attire with your vests, all the things. So come up to the event center, Western attire, 1 o'clock. And then they're following that ceremony will be the mandatory contestant meeting. Sorry, sometimes words are hard. And then you guys can ride in the arena that afternoon/evening. So there's tons of things. I could read this entire schedule, and this is a very, very condensed version of what it used to be. So let's go ahead and bring in, I have to do the intro. See how exciting it gets? Stay tuned. We have Kirsten Pettis joining us today. You're not going to want to miss it. Sometimes there's too many things to talk about. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know that you got to Casper yesterday.
Yes.
And we already talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk again because I think it's something that maybe people don't think about. Kirsten, where are you from? Where did you drive from? Where did you come here from?
So I drove from Phoenix, Arizona. It was about it was a 2-day trip, but it took us about 22 hours stopping and letting the horses rest.
Right. So how far do you drive before you stop and let the horse, get your horses out and walk around?
It depends. I really try to stop and let them out every 6 hours, but we stop every 2 and water them and check on them.
Okay. So it's nice and easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we split our day. I could have made the trip in 1 day, but it would have been a long day. So we split it up into 2 and just keep it easy on them.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got a big week ahead. So it's all about taking care of them. So let's talk about the weather. My mom and dad summered in the Phoenix area 1 year, kind of on accident. She was going to the Mayo Clinic, and so they had to be there close. But it was ridiculously hot. So what is the temperature in Phoenix right now?
So it's about 105, 110 during the days. We're just getting into our hot season.
So that's insane. And we are, this climate is so much cooler compared to that.
Yes.
But we are, we're borderline almost, I would say for you, not at all, shorts weather and t-shirts weather.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, for all the locals, we've been wearing t-shirts since, as soon as we can. Like 50 is t-shirt weather around here.
Absolutely not.
It feels amazing. So how are your horses faring? Because I'm sure that it's very similar.
Yeah, they're doing great. They had blankets on last night. It was cold for them last night. So our nights are about 65, 70 degrees right now.
Sheesh. And it's chilly. I mean, it does still gets a little chilly, which I'm thankful for because it's much easier to keep my house cool when it drops, when the
Yeah.
temperature drops at night. So, just some things to think about. If you guys are new rodeo fans or new um, college rodeo fans in particular, like we have students that are coming from, well, I mean, you have 2 days. There's even students that are coming from even farther than that when you're looking at the southern region and I mean, anywhere actually.
Yes.
But
It's a
those
drive.
those different weather patterns can really impact the performance, can impact your horses and how you take care of them during the week. So just some
Yep.
good behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and the
So,
altitude plays a lot into it too.
oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So I never think about that because I was
Yes.
born and raised here. So
Yep.
I would assume that the altitude has a very similar impact on animals that it does on humans.
Absolutely.
So then what do you do to prepare for that? Or can you?
Lots of long trotting, build up their lungs. There's definitely a lot of prep that goes into it for sure.
Perfect. So, Kirsten, let's talk a little bit about your role as a student director.
Yeah.
How long have you been a student director, and what is part of your job that you weren't prepared for or didn't know, and then what's your favorite part?
So, this is my second year as a student director. It's a 2-year term, so this will be my last year. Um, I know for sure my favorite part is just being able to be super involved with everything that's going on. You kind of get a behind the scenes look at, awards and judges and putting on rodeos and such like that. And so I've enjoyed being able to see it from the backside and really see how much work goes into every single rodeo that's put on. I didn't know about the meetings that we go to, the
Oh,
2 trips. So, I think that was a surprise for me. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, but I think my brain miscalculated the fact that we had to travel for, 2 to 3 weeks every year, and attend board meetings and such like that.
okay. So the 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, tell us what meetings you are attending.
Yeah, so we do a week, well, it's 4 or 5 days worth of meetings in Vegas during the NFR. It's all day long. We do a lot of rule proposals, just kind of going over books and such. Really, it's a student and faculty led organization. So we have a say in everything that goes on. So when you're elected to be a student director, they're picking you to represent them in everything that goes on. We have a big say in all of it, so it's really fun to be involved that much. And then of course we have our meetings down here in Casper, so we have to be up here a week early.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, and I think, if we have any new, not necessarily rodeo fans, but definitely collegiate rodeo fans, if we have
Yes,
anybody new that's joining us, that piece that you mentioned about the student led, student driven, like you have a say in it, is
absolutely,
completely different than any other collegiate sport.
absolutely.
I mean, even now, let me rephrase that. There are collegiate sports that are student run, but
Yes,
not at a national level like you see with collegiate rodeo.
right.
So, I mean, you guys are competing. You're keeping your grades up so that you can be eligible to compete, and we're adding
Mhm.
these additional duties on top of that. And you're going to run this organization while you're here. So, I
Yes,
think that I think what in general, what rodeo does for our student athletes and kind of for our next generation is that we set you up to be a leader because there's
absolutely.
opportunities to get involved from day one. I mean, in junior rodeo, your parents are still the board and they're kind of creating these things. But once you get to the high school level, there's student directors for each state, student officers for each state. There's board of directors that those officers serve on. And so I think we're creating not just the next rodeo athlete, but the next generation of leaders for our culture.
I think it's really a step up too, because in high school rodeo, your parents are still allowed to be involved. They're kind of weaning off, but they're still
Right.
involved. And then you go to college rodeo and it's okay. This is your choice, your decision, your life. You're going to make
Mhm.
it work.
Yeah.
You're on your own. Not really, but they kind of push you off that edge and say, all right, go for it. And you have to represent yourself in it too, which I
Mhm.
think teaches a lot of people.
Well, and I mean, I think there's so many people that don't know how to advocate for themselves
Yes.
that when you see other young humans that kind of grow up in that area and are
Mhm.
able to advocate for themselves, then you can see the difference. I mean, it's the same thing. When I was a junior and senior in high school, not only was I driving, but I was driving a truck with a horse trailer, pulling
Right.
horses, traveling across the state. And that level of responsibility, not everybody is not everybody has that level of responsibility at that age.
Exactly.
And even at
Absolutely.
your age, 20, 21, 22,
Mhm.
people still don't have that level of responsibility. So we're really looking at I don't know, there's a gap. There's a gap, let's say.
Yes.
So I'm also part of the many reasons that I do have done what I do for college rodeo, because I understand what it did for me and understand what it does, um, and want to promote it and continue to help it grow. So it's
Absolutely.
so many things. We could go on forever. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's talk a little bit about kind of your region in particular.
Yeah.
Um, what are the, I guess, do you guys have 5 and 5, 5 in the spring, 5 in the fall?
Yeah, so we had 9 this year, but
Oh, okay.
normally, yes. We
Normally
have
we do
to
10.
so ever since COVID, we had to cut a rodeo out. Um, one of the schools couldn't put it on, so we actually have a couple schools that put on 2 and then a few that don't put any on, so
Okay.
but yeah, we had a super, super great year. We had, a really, really great group of competitive kids. It makes it fun when everyone's competitive, and it certainly was that.
Yeah.
But it was just a great year for us.
So talk to me about the facilities or the arena setups. Excuse me, sorry. The arena setups that you guys are used to in your region and how they compare to
Yes.
what you're going to be competing in for the CNFR.
Yeah, so there's a pretty big difference. We have all big outdoor open pens. I would say at least half of our rodeos for the barrel racers, you don't see the fence go into your first because it's such a big pen. We're usually running standard patterns, so anywhere from 16s to 17s to 18s. Um, and same thing with the team roping,
Yeah.
big open pens. So when we come here, it's a little bit of a culture shock for us. It's the CNFR arena is small. It's amazing, but it's
It's small.
definitely a small pattern. So it takes a lot of practice getting your horse kind of in the mental game of, all right, everything's a lot smaller, everything needs to be done quicker.
Well, and I mean, I assume too, obviously that arena time is going to be pretty valuable for those barrel racing horses to kind
Yes,
of get in, look around, get a feel for the size. I mean, even if you're just, working from one side of the arena to the other, that still allows them to feel the ground, feel the space, check out the sides, and have nothing like scare them in the middle of the
absolutely.
run. So,
Mhm.
well, first of all, I skipped over this. What events are you going to be competing in this week?
Just the barrel racing.
Okay, so that's good. Then we can talk
Yeah.
about this.
Yes.
When you have qualified for the CNFR and you know it's coming, the size of the arena is so much different. How do you prepare? What do you do to prepare to come into such a different size?
So at home, I set up a lot smaller of a pattern, and I've got a smaller arena at home that I can set up the pattern in and kind of emulate what the
Right.
finals is going to be like. They have a bunch of races down in Nevada and where I'm from in Phoenix. They call them the Vegas jackpot races, but
Okay.
it's a small pattern. So a lot of the barrel racers down here are able to go to different barrel races or events that have small patterns set up for the month of, May and
Mhm.
June. So
Yeah.
I did a couple of those. My mare, she was running real good, so I gave her a little bit of a rest before we headed up here. But they I don't know what the correlation is because I know there is a big race in Vegas, but they do the two broke for Vegas races down where I'm from. So kind of gets you on a small pattern and
Yeah.
lets your horse feel it out.
Yeah, perfect. So do you know, I mean, I'm gonna guess that you probably may or may not know, but are other students doing the same thing? I mean, are other student athletes doing the same things that you are to prepare for that kind of arena size change?
I sure hope so.
Right?
I hope so. We have our three girls going to the college finals this year from our region. They're all every single one of us has really nice horses, and we're all really good people. So I think I know that our barrel races are definitely putting in the work since there is such a big difference between the two.
Gotcha.
A
Gotcha.
lot of these regions run in small indoor pens the
Well,
whole year.
and I will say of all the regions that we've spoke to, most of them have a variety and
Yes.
have said that some are indoor, some are outdoor. And this is like you guys are the only region that has said we're all outdoor, we're all big events. Like
Yep.
this is going to be a big change for everybody.
Yes.
So
It is.
on that note, let's go ahead and talk about who we have qualifying from your area, from the region. I'm pulling up the standings right now.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and talk a little bit about who you guys have coming in the men's team champions.
So, New Mexico State won our men's team. CAC was right behind them. New Mexico State has taken a good chunk of kids. They also had the reserve in the men's all around also.
Okay.
So, they're coming in super strong. They've got a great coach and a good team. They did well last year. It's kind of a fight between New Mexico State and CAC every year of who's going to get to the top. So
talk to me about that all-around position. Now, is that the situation where he would be able to bring that third event in?
I believe so. I'm not an all-arounder, so I'm not super knowledgeable in that.
Well,
that's kind of what Joe handles.
Yeah, I get that. I learned something new in that they can only bring 2 events, but now I can't remember. We just talked about, I'm gonna have to go back and watch Monday's interview because clearly I've forgotten. I've slept since then. Anyways, so we've got a pretty good team. Look at you guys you placed the same for men's teams and women's team. New Mexico State University winning, CAC Central Arizona coming in, reserve men's and women's team. So talk to me. Can you name some names for New Mexico for both of those colleges representing the college?
Yeah. So for New Mexico State, they have Sherrick Sanborn. His brother also made it. I believe he made it last year too. Those two are super competitive with each other. They're in the same events. It's really fun to kind of get to watch them compete against each other. But Sherrick's brother is on a different team, but they're still super competitive. They also have Tyler Voku, great kid, super great kid. Wade Hatch, Landon Munoz. They've got a great bunch of kids. I have to sit here and remind myself about the standings too. NMSU won the Saddle Bronc. They placed 3rd in the tie down. For the steer wrestling, they won the steer wrestling. That was Sherrick Sanborn. Mm-hmm. They came in 2nd in the team roping, and 3rd also. And then Annie Alexander was 3rd in the barrels for them.
Is Bryce, who's the coach at New Mexico State?
Bryce Baggerly.
Okay, that's what I thought. I know that he is one of the coaches that we referenced yesterday. We did a live video up at the event center when they were doing setup. And I know that he's one that comes in early and helps with setup and do all that stuff. So, and that's the other thing, like a lot of these coaches, I would say a lot of these coaches, this is a full-time job and they have another job and they have families and they're, so, very similar. Sometimes it's a labor of love for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They have to leave their families at home most of the time to come up here for 2 weeks. And they're acting like parents to us,
Yeah.
There are coaches, but really through all the years, they've developed into more of that. So they're kind of our rodeo parents.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So how about women's team?
Yeah, so New Mexico State also won the women's team. Kenzie Kelton won our women's all around. She's from CAC. She's done phenomenal this year. She just kind of came in with a bang and she sealed the deal. And then NMSU had Bailey Johnston coming in second for the women's all around also.
Very good. And looks like both of those men's and women's all around. You guys, this is a unique, I've talked about this for literally the last 10 interviews, but the all around is interesting in that you have to have a minimum of 200 points in more than one event for those points to count towards the all around. So there was one region that didn't have a women's all around because nobody broke that threshold in two events. Men's all around, you guys have 12 that have gotten points in more than one event, and women's all around, there were 3 that got points in more than one event. So still super competitive. And, you know, I think I did multiple events when I was in college, and I didn't really give it a second thought because I always did those events. I always had to be prepared, but there is a little bit higher level of preparedness and commitment and just trying to be organized and ready for multiple events. And I would also say that there's some mental toughness in that too, because if you compete in the goat tying and something happens in the goat tying, but you have to run your calf next, then you've got to be able to like shut that off and move on. Like there's no time to be mad or upset or sad that one event didn't work out because you've got to flip the switch and get yourself ready for this next one.
Yep, almost immediately too.
Yes.
And that's kind of where the all around separates themselves from the kids that do just a couple events, you know. To be in the all around, you not only have to be good at what you do, but you have to be consistent.
Right.
You know, you can't just have one lucky run. You have to stay consistent throughout the year and get to that threshold to be eligible for it.
Well, and I would add too that consistency plays in because in one rodeo you can get 120 points. Is that right?
100.
Long go, short go, or the average.
Yeah. 180, I believe.
180. So you can't get 200 by having one good rodeo.
No.
Which
absolutely
I am guessing is by design. Like you have to be able to be consistent more than once and get those points so that you can be counted in the all-around race.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's see. Let's scroll down. This is the one question that nobody likes to answer, but who else in your region should we be watching for? I mean, name names, tell stories, talk about people, family appropriate stories. We don't want to hear all the stories.
Yeah, so our region, I would say we're very close as a region. The schools help each other out. We put on a rodeo in Payson every year that not one specific school puts on. So it really is all hands on deck. If you see something that needs to be done, get to it. And I think that at the Payson Rodeo, you really get to see who is super involved and who will just do whatever they need. And you need it done. I've got it. Do I know how to do it? Not great, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of super great kids in our region. And like I said, a lot of super competitive kids, like the Sanborn brothers are great. We've got Brad Moreno. He's our bull rider from the region. We call him Smiley Brad. He's got the greatest smile. He's a character too. I mean, we really do. We call them doctors. We've got a couple doctors who have been around for a while. And we call them grandpas and grandmas too. So like Lauren Allen, she didn't make it this year, but she was kind of the grandma of the region. Everyone knew her. Everyone loved her. She's from Alaska, and then our grandpa was Cooper Bradshaw. We called them the grandma and the grandpa because they're both 5th years, but they're great.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Oh, they love it. I'm sure they love it. And we've got a bunch of great coaches too. We have super, super involved coaches. We don't have hands-off coaches, you know. Every single student that would back into the box, there was a coach next to him, you know, encouraging them and being there for them. So I really, really like that about our region, is
Yeah.
that no matter what you're doing or where you're at, you can, if you need it, there is help there and supportive help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I could talk all day because I have seen the value of the college rodeo and the coaches and kind of the structure of it myself. But until you're in it, and I would say almost until you're in it, have gone through it and are on the other
On the
side,
way out. Yep.
it's a little bit harder to see when you're in the middle of it. But it's certainly something that I have seen even just at the level of involvement that I'm in, just with the college finals. I see massive growth in students year over year. And, it's fun. It's great to watch. And also, I mean, I think everyone at this point, at this time, is always like, well, I didn't do that when I was in college. Listen, yeah, you did. You just thought you knew it all then. And now you know a little bit more.
Right.
You never know it all.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I would like to ask you, have you been to Casper before? Well, last year.
I came last year. Yes.
So, I would like to ask you what your where your favorite place to eat is, if you have one.
Yes.
And what, there's so many different activities available to you guys as student athletes.
Yes.
Outside of kind of the organized activities, what do you like to do when you're here?
Okay, so it's not food, it's drinks. There's this coffee shop called La Barista here.
Yes.
And they have Almond Joy chai tea lattes.
Yes. They also have this one called a Snow Flurry. It's not even on the menu anymore, but I always get peanut butter added to it. Also one of my favorites.
Is it? I'll have to try it. That's like, I look forward to that. I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to get my Almond Joy chai tea. And I don't even like coffee or anything like that.
It's the little things.
Yeah, last year we were able to go fishing. So
yeah,
we had a little bit of free time between one of the days and got to fish, and that was super fun. We fish a lot at home, but you know.
So where did you guys go fishing?
I couldn't tell you the name of the river. I don't know. It was a guided tour. It was fly fishing. So
somebody laughed. There's only one river. It's the North Platte.
Okay, there you go.
We got you covered.
Yes.
Was it out of town? Was it in town?
It was out of town.
Did you float or did you just go and fish?
Float.
So
on a boat.
How was that?
Fun.
What day did you do it? Where are you fitting this in?
Oh, it was only for a couple hours. Oh. And it was like very early morning. We squeezed it in.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that today I'll be able to get to do something fun. Not sure what yet, but.
So can I make some suggestions?
Yes.
I'm going to assume that you like to be outside because that's what we do.
Yes.
There is a place called Rotary Park, Garden Creek Falls.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool hike. There's a longer bridle trail that you can also hike if you enjoy hiking. I'm going to totally out myself as a local here. I've never hiked the bridle trail. Well, wait, that's not true. I've hiked some of it with my kids. I couldn't do all of it. No. But amazing. Our local Rotary Club has put so much time. I used to be involved with Rotary, so I'm totally plugging them. But they've put so much time and effort into that. I definitely recommend doing that. And it's a pretty cool, kind of hidden, you would never, I mean, we're not known for waterfalls here, so. But
it's okay, neither are we.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So the other thing is I would totally suggest floating the river. I think my favorite steakhouse is the Silver Fox.
Okay.
That's also west of Casper.
Is that the one in downtown?
That is not. That is, I think that's Ribbon. You must be thinking of Ribbon Chop.
Maybe. I went there last year.
They're good too. Yes. I like food, so I can talk about all the places to eat. Silver Fox is my favorite. There is a little restaurant downtown across from Lou Talbert's called the Wooden Derrick. They are pretty good. They have really good fries.
Oh, all right. I'm sold.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could probably talk about all the things for quite a while, but
Oh, yes.
so it's always fun for me to ask that question, especially for some of our student directors that have been here like 3+ years,
Yes.
the grandmas and grandpas, right?
Yes.
Then they know, they go to this spot every year. And then also it's fun to talk to the coaches because, usually they're here every year for
a long time.
For a long time. Yeah. For a long time, 20+ years. So
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Man, my cough is bad today. I appreciate your time. I hope you got your horses taken care of. I hope we get some sun so they're not cold.
I need some sun. I'm cold
I hope we get sun for you too. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Kirsten, I'm sure that I will see you and meet you face to face.
Yes.
Again, it's hard to remember names from year to year and faces.
That's
so
okay.
It's always nice to have you on here. Thank you so much. You guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to our national sponsors. Excuse me. Cinch Jeans and Shirts is a wonderful partner and sponsor of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, also the official CNFR, and partners with Bullfrog Creatives. And we are so grateful for that partnership. We appreciate their support. Lead, don't follow, you guys. That's kind of what we do on the Bullfrog platform, doing things that other people are not. RAM is the official automotive sponsor of the NIRA. Cactus Ropes, Cactus Saddlery, Cactus Gear, and Resist All Hats is the official hat maker for College Rodeo. And a big thank you to Cinex, who is our new national sponsor for this year. They have been fueling local rodeo fans for over 90 years. So we want to give a shout out to them. Of course, want to give a shout out to Visit Casper, our Convention and Visitors Bureau for Casper. They are a national sponsor and proud home of the College National Finals Rodeo. Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. We got to see some of that beautiful equipment. Green is my favorite color. Beautiful equipment getting set up yesterday, and we will be up to the arena again today and see what kind of progress those boys made. Boys and girls. We've got some women up there helping. And we also want to give a shout out to Maynard Buckles, as they are the championship buckle. They donate the championship buckles every year. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We are just due to scheduling conflicts and some things coming up, it doesn't look like we're going to get to visit with the Southwest region, but hopefully we can post some stuff, and we'll try to, maybe I can track them down up at the event center today. Wrapping up our regional countdown on Friday, we have the West Coast region joining us, and that is Tyree Cochran and Ben Londo. Ben, for those of you guys that have been college rodeo fans for, well, as long as I have, at least, you will recognize that name, as he was a contestant at the CNFR here in Casper, and now he is back as a coach, has been a coach for several years now. And Tyree Cochran, I believe this is her last year, and you guys, she could be back. She is signed on to be a coach next year. So this is how the industry continues to get better. It's these student athletes that choose to give back to other student athletes once they are done competing. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We are dangerously close to wrapping up the countdown and launching right into the live coverage and footage that we provide during the CNFR. Thank you guys again for joining us. We will catch you. Well, there's going to be some lives, who knows when, but we will catch you back here for the countdown on Friday at 9 a.m. You guys have a good day.
Perfection almost looks easy. But it isn't. Here's to those who go the distance.